with somebody else and leave treatment saying, I've met the one, and you can bet that things are not going to go well. So here's a normal brain, a CAT scan, and there's an alcoholic 43-year-old, and that looks as bad as a 60-year-old normal brain, and I'm 61, so that looks bad, okay? It's all shrunk up, okay? And that is not recoverable. Once that happens, that's going to happen. So here is the combination of the comparison of different addictions and how they look the same in the brain. On the bottom, we have normal, happy people with a lot of red. We have a smoker, an alcoholic, a food addict, and a cocaine addict, and they all have the same problem. Their dopamine is gone. And I showed you that one study showing that that also started off that way. You didn't wind up that way. So you go back and see your friend. He's in the hospital. And you can tell that he really doesn't know who you are, but he's not going to admit it. So you start asking him some questions. And you say, who's the president? Who's the president? And he says, well, who cares? They're all crooks. And, what day is it? And you say, who cares? I'm retired. Okay? And when you watch him, he walks around kind of like this. Like he's not really sure if he can walk, and he keeps his hand on the wall. And what he is doing is he's showing you long-term signs of brain damage. And the part with the balance is your cerebellum is permanently damaged. And this is called Wernicke, starting off with Wernicke's encephalopathy, progressing to Wernicke-Korsakoff psychosis, and this is what we used to call wet brain. This may not be recoverable. And this is typically seen back in the old days when we didn't have any treatment available, but we still see it nowadays. So you have confusion, agitation, and restlessness. And what you watch for, is someone who makes things up to prevent you from realizing they don't know, so they confabulate, and they have amnesia. And there's two kinds of amnesia. There's retrograde and antegrade. So retrograde, I'll ask you, what happened yesterday in the news? And you say, well, I don't watch TV, okay? And then I'll say, remember three things: cat, pillow, and chair. And I'll ask you the same things 5 minutes later, and you can't remember them. It's antegrade amnesia. Now what happens more and more nowadays is I forget to ask you, so you don't have to worry about it. You can also have peripheral neuropathy, where you have a lot of numbness or burning or tingling in your arms and legs. So finally you see this guy one more time. He's got cirrhosis, he's throwing up blood, he's jaundiced, he's dying, and he tells you that everything's okay. His sister is going to give him a liver transplant, but you know that his sister died 5 years ago, so he's just making this up, and he dies shortly after. And one thing you notice is while you're talking to him, he starts going like this. And this is called asteriscus, and what it means is your blood is full of ammonia.